Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is Saturday, October 21st, 2017, and this is part 8 of my Fallout New Vegas on PC in 2017 mod guide. Today we are going to look at lighting effects that we're going to use in our game that are low on resource utilization. So most people should be able to follow this guide. Most games should be able to follow this guide. We are not going to install the Ojo Bueno or NMC Texture pack due to their dependency on the 4 GB patch. So we'll go ahead and get started here, and I'd appreciate any feedback that you have in the comments. We'll see you guys next time. So we're going to start out here by getting Yams Pinup Parade, which is going to round out our collection of posters. Give us a nice set of period accurate artwork in the game. So we're going to head over here to Files, and we need both the resources and the ESB plugin. So we're going to download the resources first, and then we'll download the plugin file to load the resources. So first, we're going to go ahead and install the resources file. And then once that's been installed, we install the ESP plugin. Once that's installed, we're going to switch over to the Plugins tab and take a look at that ESP plugin, which we see is at the bottom. So we need to sort that. So launch loot. Go ahead and sort those plugins. Next up, we're going to go and get the mod Electro City. So this is a mod that was designed to work with the Enhanced Shaders ESB and Nevada Skies. It's an excellent complement to that particular mod. And it's really lightweight and not resource intensive at all. So we're going to run along here, go to Files, and then we're going to pick the version 12 alpha. And then here all we've got to do is double click it to install. And switch over to the plugins, and we see that there are 2 ElectroCity plugins. So we're just going to trigger loot again to make sure that our sort order is correct. And we see there's a better sort order, so we're going to apply that. And Nexus crashed again, so we're going to click OK, close everything, and then restart Nexus. And then we'll check the plugins again to make sure that that sort actually worked. And we see that it did. It moved in Nevada Skies above the Highways and Byways plugin for ElectroCity. Okay, next up, we want to get Dynavision. So Dynavision creates a great depth of field effect that you can control the level of depth of field, but there are some caveats here. So in order to use Dynavision, you have to pick whether you want the full version or the light version. If you want the full version, then you'll have a MCM menu, which is the Mod Configuration Manager menu. So I'm going to go ahead and download this here just to show you. You don't want to use this with Darnified UI. So there's a conflict here, but I'm going to download it just to show you what would happen here. So when we try to run the MCM menu to install it, we get a prompt here that we have a conflict with Darnified UI, and we absolutely do not want the Mod Configuration Manager to overwrite Darnified UI. Now, if you don't have Darnified UI, then you can click OK. You won't get this conflict, and you should be OK. You'll get an MCM menu on your main menu that lets you control the Dynavision depth of field. However, for us, we're focused on a light install. I don't want the MCM menu because I want Darnified UI in play. So I'm going to click No to Mod to cancel this, and I'm going to deactivate the plugin. If you want to do this, then I check the links in the description below. There's a Nexus forums thread you can check out, which is long and complicated, but it will walk you through how you can get the MCM menu working with Darnified UI if you absolutely want the MCM menu and the Darnified UI. So that's up to you, but for us, we're going to skip it. We're going to go with the Dynavision Lite version, which still gives us access to the depth of field settings, most of them. And it's telling you that we need Mod Configuration Manager, but we don't actually need that for the Lite version. So we're going to click OK. And we're going to find the Dynavision Lite here and install the Lite version. So this is going to install a item in the Pip-Boy, and when you equip that item, then you'll gain access to the depth of field settings. We're going to launch loot and make sure the sort order is correct. Okay, there's another step that we need to take for Dynavision to be able to work. So we're going to flip over to Steam here real quick. And we need to go down to Fallout New Vegas to the launcher. And we're just going to run the launcher normal. Once the launcher's open, we're going to click Options. And then here we need to go into the advanced settings and make sure that the depth of field option is enabled. If that's not enabled, then Dynavision won't work. So make sure that's enabled. And go ahead and close out of here. Close out of here. Now, every single time you run this stock Steam menu, it's going to overwrite your Fallout INI. So if you have Dynavision, your settings are now lost. So we're just going to jump over here real quick to the Fallout INI file, and we're going to restore our Dynavision settings. Okay, so I have a backup file of my Darnified UI font settings, so I'm just going to open up that backup file and then copy the block of fonts out of it, and then go into the standard Fallout INI and find the font setting. And we're going to overwrite the font setting with the Darnified UI settings. Now we click Save here, we get this prompt because I forgot the Fallout INI gets set to read-only. When you open the launcher, so right-click on the Fallout INI, clear the read-only flag, and then try to save again. And now it should prompt you to overwrite. Click Yes, and it should be overwritten. So our Darnified UI will be working again. So now we're just going to launch the game right quick here to make sure that our ElectroCity and Dynavision depth of field settings are working. And we can see here that we do see the depth of field. If you look in the space in the background, you can see how there's a blur effect to it. So if the camera's pointed directly at an object, then we can see that the object within the field of view is clear, whereas everything in the background has been blurred to a certain effect. So we have some level of control over how deep this fade effect is. So we need to go ahead and go into the Pip-Boy and find the Dynavision object in there, the lens that will let us control the depth of field. So we need to go into the apparel section of the Pip-Boy and find the item Dynavision Lens Package. So we're going to equip the Dynavision Lens Package, and that will bring up this little menu here. So it's not as elegant as the MCM menu, but it still gives you control over the level of depth of field that you want. So I'm going to switch this to the low setting as the first one, and then for Dyna Blur, I'll set that to medium. And medium. And then we're just going to go back out of here, and we should see that the depth of field is slightly less intense than it was previously. And we can see there, it might be hard to tell from the capture there, but the blur is a lot less intense than the default setting, which is high. And the last thing that we want to talk about today is the NMC Texture Pack and the Ojo Bueno meshes. So a lot of people bring this up. You'll see this in pretty much every guide that you look at, and those are great mods. The NMC Texture Pack really overhauls all the textures in the game and really does improve the look overall. The problem with the NMC Texture Pack is it uses a lot of video memory. So if you're going to use the NMC Texture Pack, then you have got to be using the 4 GB launcher. And as we've seen, the 4 GB launcher, it's great, but only certain versions work, and there are caveats and dependencies, and a lot of people have just decided not to use it, because you have to consider the fact that your save files are not just tied to your games. Your save files are also tied to all the mods that you have. So if you have a mod that's overly complicated or isn't reliable, then you're putting your save in jeopardy. So again, if you are using the 4 GB patch and you're liking it and it's working fine for you, then I would recommend both the NMC Texture Pack and the Ojo Bueno. So feel free to get those if that is something that you want. I did play through the whole game with both of those, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. However, on later playthroughs, as I've built new machines and have helped other people mod their games, I've really shied away from those. And so, here recently, I haven't been using them anymore. They do have a little shock value. They look great. But really, after 10 or 15 minutes of playing a game, you completely forget about the fact that they're even there. So, I've opted for more lighter options, like just tweaking the lighting with, ElectroCity and the depth of field with Dynavision and things like that. So, again, only you can make the choice that's right for you. So if you want to do that, feel free to do that. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll talk to you later.